Here's all the agendas.
That's it.
But I will give it to you.
Thank you very much. You ready? Okay. Gina, would you lead us in the pledge?
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Deputy Supervisor Villanova.
Heavenly Father, bless this assemblage. Grant us the wisdom to make our every decision fair-minded and in the best interest for all its residents. And if I could just ask everyone to please remain standing for just a moment, just to keep the Carvin family in their prayers. Thank you.
Okay. Hope you call the roll.
Gelfart.
Here.
Mendocino.
Here.
Nioris.
Here.
Villanova.
Yes, here.
Harvey.
Yes. Any comments on the meetings from February 15th, that historic date in American history?
Motion to approve the minutes.
Second?
Second.
All say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Town Clerk Vespi, would you give us the reports, please?
Surely. I'm sorry, my eyes. Okay, deposited for the month of February 2011, $945.25 to the supervisor. And for tax collections for the month of February 2011, deposit to the supervisor of the town of Rye, $9,878,238.66. Deposited to the village of Portchester, $119,241.41. Deposit to the treasurer of the village of Rybrook, $3,359,866.66. A total of $13,357,348.75. You know what? I have to find my glasses.
Mine?
Oh, here they are. Thank you. Thank you for correcting me. Okay, that's it.
We obviously only have 2 months of Crawford Park to report. Revenues are a little bit behind last year, not significantly, but they are a little bit behind. The new policy that you passed is in the process of being implemented. We have seen, let's just say we have seen people make second choices. Once they found out that the price was a bit higher, once they found out that there was an alcohol permit required, there have been some people that have walked away. We don't think it's significant. We're still turning people away because we don't have adequate space and time.
Thank you, Mr. Nowotnik. Comments from the public?
Thank you.
Okay, as one that just finished with the Park Commission, I just want to remind you that Portchester is a low-income to a middle-income community and has approximately 50% off the tax rolls between the nonprofit corporates and the municipal property. I also want to remind you that Portchester has 11 group homes all off the tax rolls. Yes, everybody needs group homes in all communities, whether it be city, town, village, or whatever in Westchester County. But to have 11 group homes in the village of Portchester all off the tax rolls, something is wrong, and we have to get all levels of government to get to the state and demand that every community have so many group homes, and not just the village of Portchester. That's number one. Our reval and taxes, of course, are all wrong. Our reval has to come down because practically nothing in Portchester is being sold because our taxes are too high and the nonprofit corporates keep buying and taking off the tax rolls. We can't afford that, but that's what's happening, okay? I also want to remind you, okay, that on the Park Commission and on the flyers that they put out for us to see, it should say Rye Town Park, Oakland Beach. It should say Rye Town Park, Crawford Park, and not just Rye Town Park Commission, because Rye Town owns Oakland Beach and Crawford Park, and they should be equal on the flyer, okay, if it's a Rye Town Park Commission meeting. I also want to remind you that, and I didn't see it on here, but tomorrow, I understand, at 7 o'clock at Crawford Park, we're having the ending of the 350th anniversary of Rye Town. As a historian, I know it, but where is it on here? Where is it to tell the people, come on, come up there and see, or end it? It's not there. I also want to tell you that I feel that Rye Town is a very important place, and that the parking at Oakland Beach has to be good for the people of Portchester, because we don't have a waterfront park that the children can go and get into or a beach that the children could go and get into the water. We don't have that. So you have to take into consideration that parking at Oakland Beach has to be better for the people of Portchester than all the surrounding, well, I call them, elitist communities. You're a board, basically, Rybrook. I don't see any Portchester on this board.
No, Goldie.
Oh, Goldie.
I'm Goldie.
Only one person?
You really
One
made
person? Are you
not
one person? Are you one person out of the 5
Goldie,
or
I'm
6?
stronger than these people from Rybrook. I could take them out right now if I wanted to.
No, you can't.
You
You
know
only
that.
one
Come on.
vote. One person, one vote can't do anything. And
Tell
we
them,
have
Marty.
that problem
Marty,
in
tell them how strong the
Portchester.
people from Portchester are. We're resilient. We're resilient. We're galvanized.
No, you can talk, but you're only one person,
Tell
one
them,
vote.
Mr. Eway,
Can't
tell
do
them how strong
anything.
Portchester is.
Can't do
There you
anything.
go. There's the rally.
Okay, so I just want you to be aware that you have to understand that this is our history in the village of Portchester, and this building is here off the tax rolls. So, come on, who's paying for it? Who's paying for it if it's off the tax rolls? We have more off the tax rolls than any other village our size. And that has to be considered. So please consider the taxpayers of Portchester and do something better for them than other villages or whatever in the town of Rye.
Thank you, Goldie. And thanks for reminding us about Rye 350. We will be talking.
350.
Yep, absolutely. This is your last chance. Absolute last chance to celebrate 350 years of the town of Rye. Tomorrow night at Crawford Park, 7 o'clock. It's open to everyone, so come and help us celebrate. And we're looking to, begin. It's our last chance to celebrate 350 years of the town of Rye, and we're also going to begin to create our legacy for the next 350 years. So we're really looking to segue into a model American community. And talking about model American communities, let me introduce Council County Legislator Mr. Rogowski. I know you want to talk just a little bit about. Let me ask you to come on up. Talk about our model American community, with or without the county government.
Thank you very much. Another 350 years. Looking forward to that. That sounds good. Good evening, and thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. And Mr. Supervisor, I extend my condolences. I was not aware of that. I'm
Thank you.
sorry to hear about your loss.
Thank you.
I appreciate the opportunity to appear before you. In past years, I've held really town meetings in each of my communities to try to explain the county budget, what we've done, and how the taxpayers' money is being spent. Portchester, Rybrook, and Harrison, and I basically get 8 people in each community. The tried and true who want to come out in here. So I thought I'd try something different this year. First, save a little on the mailing, and I know many people watch you on TV, hopefully, and so I'm going to visit. You're number one. My first stop, but I'm going to visit my local governments and make a presentation to the boards.
Thank you.
And hopefully through this way to help get the word out. But just one quick comment. I don't want to spend really any time on the relationship between the board and the county executive over the last sort of month and a half and 2 months of going through trying to get this budget put to bed. But I'll just give one example because it just sort of came up, I guess, yesterday, to give you a flavor of some of the contentiousness we've been going through. Back and forth on the budgets and vetoes and overrides, and the board eventually passed the budget with a 2.2% tax decrease, which meant we were raising $548 million. That's going to be the tax levy, and that comes out to a minus 2.2. The county executive printed the budget, which we got yesterday, and he included his number. So the budget actually says we're going to collect $555 million. So the warrants went out based on the 548 because that's what we passed. So our budget is right away $6.5 million in the red because, at least on paper, I mean, he chose to print the budget that shows his proposed tax decrease of 1%. So without going into detail, that gives you an example of, unfortunately, some of the difficulties the Board of Legislators have had with the county executive. Even when we finally passed the budget, sent it to the printers, the numbers are off.
Yeah.
Having said that, let me say, so we did, in fact, at the end of the day, pass a budget that has a minus 2.2% tax decrease. Countywide, we cut spending almost $30 million. For the town of Rye, and I know it's hard to see these things, but the town of Rye, for the last 5 years, we were minus 4.7, minus 7%, minus 4%. 2009, we were up 4.3% for the town of Rye. Last year, it was 5.25%. This year, it will be 0.3%. So notwithstanding the fact that the budget we passed was minus 2.2, for the town of Rye, it's almost zero. It's 0.3%. So that was sort of, and Mr. Markowitz can give you a whole explanation on the assessments and how this works in Westchester County. But when all the math was done for Rye Town, it's 0.3%. So that's where will be the sewer, the Portchester. The sewer taxes basically stayed the same. I'm happy to report, since we got the Portchester tax down about 50% now 3-4 years ago, we kept them down. So that's the good news. I want to just briefly, I'm giving you a handout, to sort of, again, explain where the money goes. And unfortunately, my handouts aren't very big, but I guess it'll help me. As I said, we're going to raise $548 million. $211 million of that $548 million property tax goes for Medicaid. And if you've seen the papers recently, the governor now is having a lot of discussions with the state legislature, his Medicaid redesign team, his mandate relief team. I know the town, I'm sure, probably gets some mandates. The villages and the school districts certainly have a lot of mandates. Our biggest mandate, by far, and New York State's the only state in the country that does this, is shares Medicaid with the counties. And I know over the years I've talked about this, but the hard numbers are, out of the $448 million we'll collect, $211 million is for Medicaid. And we keep hoping the state will change that. They don't seem inclined to do that. You add on early childhood intervention, pre-K, we have a lot of very good programs. The state mandates on the counties. It takes up probably over 70% of our property tax. The other one that really galls me is a federal mandate. This year we'll spend almost $15 million on inmate health care. The moment you're arrested and you walk into our jail, the very first thing you do is get a full checkup. What meds are you on? What are your needs? And that population, unfortunately, has a fair amount of needs. 100%, you could be on Medicaid, you could have private insurance. The moment you walk into our system, 100% county property taxes. So it's almost 3% on the tax rate. So you kind of think of raising taxes and having to raise taxes. Almost 3% goes for inmate health care. It's a federal requirement all over the country. Why people who are Medicaid can't stay on Medicaid is beyond me. And when I, as part of our national counties, we were lobbying for that. But anyway, again, when people say, where do your county property tax dollars go to? Between Medicaid and a lot of these very good social programs, $1.7 million is for the MTA payroll tax, which we all, I know you have to pay for your employees, but it's one level of government taxing another level. I have to raise county property taxes $1.7 million to pay the MTA payroll tax. So it's just taxing to pay a tax. We give the MTA about $27 million out of our property taxes, goes right down to the MTA. So they get a piece of our property tax, they get a piece of our sales tax, now they get a piece of our payroll tax. We've had them in to ask them what they do for us, for all this money they get. And speaking of the sales tax, another interesting number is, Nassau and county both get over $1 billion in sales tax, and they keep it. Now, they're both a little bit larger than we are, but they collect over $1 billion, and they keep it. We collect maybe $360 million, and we give $100 million back to the schools and the villages. So we keep about $240 million. And so people like to compare us to Nassau or Suffolk, and they can do, I can. Well, they get over $1 billion in sales tax, and they keep it. It has nothing to do with the property tax. So, again, very quickly, the jails, the district attorney, the board of elections to run our elections, these are all mandated services, things we have to do. We're happy to do them, but we have to pay for them. The district attorney, even the county clerk, although the county clerk actually makes some money. It costs $8 million, but he probably brings in about $9 million. So the county clerk, anybody who has to go to the county clerk's office and file papers, you pay for just about everything. So he actually makes a little money. Let me comment briefly on Playland. The county executive's own budget. And Playland over the years, every time I see an article in the paper, it's losing millions of dollars. It's terrible. There's proposals right now in front of the county executive. We have not seen them yet about what to do about Playland. In his own budget, he presented Playland as making money. Now, with that, he shows $2 million of principal payments. People in the business world know the concept of EBITDA, earnings before interest, taxes, and amortization. But his own budget for Playland shows that it was going to make about $1 million. But you take off $2 million for principal payments on the debt and $500,000 for interest payments. So when you add those in, it shows a net loss of, I think, $1 million, $1.5 million. But in the business world, on an operating basis, it's making money. Now, there are assumptions in there, enough sunny days that people will come to the park. But I guess I take a personal, not a personal affront, it's not my property, but when I keep reading how Playland is losing millions of dollars and it gets bad-mouthed, even the county executive, who frankly has not been Playland's greatest friend over the years, he has his own opinions about Playland, his own budget, based on the numbers, show that before principal payments is making money. So those are the hard numbers. We run the wastewater treatment plants, but that's the sewer tax pays for those. Public health, all the social services. So we do a lot of things, and the little dollars left over. Emergency services. We had our commissioner. I happen to be chairman of the Public Safety Committee, and I'm actually in front of our environmental committee yesterday, which I attended. Our commissioner of emergency services came in to talk about Indian Point, and obviously what's going on, the terrible tragedy in Japan, and Indian Point sits on a fault line as well. But we just went over where we are, where we stand. Obviously. We constantly train and everyone's ready, but Indian Point is up and running. It's just a terrible tragedy what's going on over in Japan. But emergency services, our parks, the few things that we try to do to improve the quality of life of people in Westchester, that's the few dollars that we have to fight over, because everything else is mandated. So with that, I don't want to take a lot of your time. I appreciate the opportunity to just run through these numbers very quickly. And as I say, unfortunately, we weren't really able to. I'll give the county executive a lot of credit. He came in and he committed to a zero tax increase. I was very curious as how he was going to do that, and I may have mentioned to you when I came here in December, he got there by borrowing $20 million for the pensions. You have to face your own pension issues, The village has certainly faced their pension issues. We've never borrowed.